Hi reading group, I hope you all are doing well and staying safe. For the video today, we are going to be talking about the topic and the assignment for week 2 of the course, which is on comprehension. So first, just a little bit of context. You know that last week we talked about 21st century literacy skills. What does it mean to be literate in each of your content areas? Beyond that, then you got into something called text complexity, and we considered factors that make a text complex or barriers to comprehension, both quantitatively, so those things that are more easy to measure in terms of vocabulary use, sentence length, sentence structure, things that we can more easily identify in terms of what makes a text complex, and then also some of those qualitative factors. So that may be something like a cultural barrier for students to be able to comprehend a text. So where we are going to be picking up this week then is having considered what made your text complex, and especially those qualitative factors, you are now going to be considering what strategies you can use to help students comprehend a text. So if we've got a text, we've got our students, we have the barriers in between, which are what makes the text complex. And so now you are going to be finding all kinds of strategies about how can we help reduce or eliminate those barriers for students to be able to comprehend the text. So you will notice that both in the Beers and the Hinchman text, both provide several useful strategies for ways that we can help students to best overcome those barriers and comprehend the text. So you'll be exposed to just tons of different strategies. In addition to that, there are a couple of examples. So you're actually going to not just read about some of these strategies, but see them play out. There's one here on close reading, and then there's another one that's from the teacher channel that's on thinking notes. And these are just 2 examples of strategies that were recommended in the text for strategies to help students comprehend text. So you can actually see how those would play. How would that look in an actual classroom context. So once you learn about all these different strategies, you are then going to be participating in a conversation, of course. So those of you who are in the online class, you all will participate in the discussion online, and there's a prompt for you to do so. You guys will post by Thursday, respond by Sunday. And then those of you who are in the face-to-face class, I will see you guys Monday morning. Please remember to do the reading before class, view the videos before class, so that during our class time, we can actually discuss everything that you guys engaged with. And then we are going to be putting that into practice through the form of an assignment. And so the assignment for week 2 asks you to use the same text that you chose, that you did an analysis of the complexity. And now you are going to consider all of those different barriers that you mentioned that might make the text complex, and then all of the strategies that you learned for helping students to best comprehend the text. And you are going to be creating kind of a lesson plan for how you would teach the text. Now, make sure you hear me say that you are not doing the Olivet lesson plan. That is very extensive. We are not going to be doing that. Instead, you are going to be describing what you would do, essentially for that instruction portion of the lesson plan. And a great way to think about teaching a text is in terms of a BDA approach, which you see on here. So what am I going to do before the students read the text? What am I going to do while they're reading the text? And what am I going to do after reading the text? What am I going to do before to reduce those barriers for them to be able to comprehend? What am I going to do while they're reading, again, to reduce or eliminate those barriers to comprehension? And then afterwards, how am I going to assess whether or not the extent to which each student in your classroom comprehended the text that you put in front of them? So you will see here, according to the assignment description, you're going to be describing, like, what am I going to do given the barriers that you identified that might make the text challenging for students? What are you going to do to prepare the students? So one example I had mentioned in the face-to-face class, and maybe on the video last week too, was the Malala text. So the students might be able to read the text, but if students have a very different cultural background from a character that they are reading about, they are going to need background information, historical information, social political information, geographic information, just to even be able to understand the text that they are reading. So that may be something I would do before. I may show them a video I may give a prompt for them to kind of consider about their own lived experience and then connect that to the reading. I may bring up a map, all of the things that would help them to be able to be prepared to read the text that they're reading. Then while they're reading, how are you going to break down the text to help them be able to comprehend? So the text mentions all different kinds of strategies, so things like repeated reading, asking questions, stopping and asking questions, visualizing, metacognitively asking students to identify the extent to which they understand. They may be stopping to summarize after each paragraph. They may be annotating and taking notes in the margin. All of these different strategies. So you will think about for your text, what are your students going to do while they're reading the text in order for them to best comprehend the text that you're going to be asking them to read. Afterwards, then, what are you going to do to make sure that they understood what they read? So this may be something like self-questioning strategies. They may be summarizing. You may be writing some text-dependent questions. So if they understood the text, they will be able to answer these questions. And for this, you are actually going to create whatever it is that you're going to use. So if you're going to have them do text-dependent questions, let's say you're going to write 3 text-dependent questions, then I would like for you to actually write those questions. If you're going to have them do kind of summary, explain to me how you're going to go about having students summarize the text. If students are going to be writing their own questions or asking questions of their group members, what will be the process for enacting that after they read the text? So that should be everything for this week. As always, reach out if you have any questions or concerns or anything. Otherwise, I hope you have a great week. I'm looking forward to seeing many of you on Monday.